Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, how you doing? Welcome. It's a snowy Tuesday in Pittsburgh, PA. It's pretty. I said Tuesday. That must mean Susan's there. Hi, Suze.
Hi, I am.
Yeah.
It's burr here. Oh.
Yeah. You know, every time I want to feel warmer, I look at the Green Bay weather. I do. I was doing that yesterday. I mean, because it's like in the teens here, big deal. And then I look at Green Bay, and when it was 17 here, and it was 1 below in Green Bay.
Yeah, well, this morning when I got up, it was 8 below, and that's that's without the wind chills.
Yeah.
And I had, I usually make sure that the heat gets set down at night and last night I intentionally kept it up. And when I got up, it was still 65 in the house. The house just can't even keep up with it.
Wow.
We still have incandescent light bulbs, so I turned on the hall lights and I turned on the dining room lights. And I'm
figuring what those warm things up.
They'll help warm the heat. Yeah, they will. Yeah, they'll warm the air.
Okay, so I just said that just goes out to all of us here who are feeling beset and besieged. Just all things being relative. Susan, I also have to note that a lot of Pittsburghers are down today because the Steelers lost their playoff game yesterday.
Oh, and, I saw that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I thought they acquitted themselves better than I expected because they're not a very good team right now. They're a middling team, which is, they're not the worst, but they definitely aren't one of the best. And so let the drama begin. Talk of coaching changes. Who's going to be the quarterback? It's going to be a lot of wonderful intrigue moving forward, as they say.
But that's part of the game too.
That's part of the game.
I mean, there's strategy, the manpower. Yeah. What happens off the field is every bit as important as what happens on the field, and
that's why. There is all that, and we'll see. There's going to be a lot of Bill Belichick could be in Atlanta in a day or two. Just a lot of.
Or he could be in Dallas.
Yeah, but I don't see that.
I don't either. I don't know.
Why would he put up with Jerry Jones? I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Yeah, and also condolences to poor Stan Kroenke. It just breaks my heart every time Stan Kroenke's Rams lose. Jeez.
Why? I don't even know who Sam Kroenke is.
Stan Kroenke is the owner of the Rams. He is the husband of a Walmart heiress and has spent her money buying himself sports teams, one of which was the St. Louis Rams. And he lied through his teeth, and he got the city to do all sorts of things, and then he left. So yeah.
Oh, I see. So you were being sarcastic.
I was being sarcastic. Yes, I was.
Okay. So there.
Gee, I know that doesn't play on text, but how can it not play in my voice?
Right. Yeah. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Well, you didn't know who Sam Kroenke was.
Yeah,
right?
I got hung up on Kroenke. I thought, what? Who? Huh?
Gee, Officer Kroenke. But that was Krupke. Right.
Krupke. Okay. So wait a minute. I gotta get my,
so we were back at Pittsburgh Steelers, and we were discussing changing the coaching.
Okay, and so what we have done is we've done now the weather and the sporting section of the program, but that's not why people listen. I don't think.
Probably not.
Probably not. So we need to move on. I do have one other thing to clean up from yesterday. Susan, I was at an intersection 2 days ago near my home, and I saw one of those signs put up on a telephone pole that I always hate seeing, that always have, missing.
A lost dog or something.
Yeah, I so hate those things. But then I realized it didn't say missing. It said kidnapped. Right. And then there was a picture of a baby. And what? And the light turned green. I had to go. But I couldn't get it out of my head. And I thought, what the hell? Was it some kind of joke? Was it sort of whatever like clickbait? So if you approached it, then it was something else. And I found the answer yesterday while not even looking for it in the local Jewish newspaper. It turns out that a bunch of people in the Jewish community here have been putting up those signs of the
hostages. Yeah.
Of the hostages.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw.
Right.
Because I thought, what the hell? I mean, I just couldn't even. So I'm just putting that out there for the audience because I had said, what is this? Does anybody know? And I found, inadvertently discovered the answer by reading my Jewish Chronicle. So there you have it. That's what that is. I suppose I'll have to look and see if it's still there because those things are,
they are ripped down as fast as they are put up.
As fast as they go up. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Well, big shocker. I refuse to even pay attention to this crap. Donald Trump is the choice of over 50% of Iowan Republicans who went to the caucuses, and
14%. Did you say 15%? It was 14%.
No. 51%. I think he was.
Oh yeah, that's how much he won by, but only 14% of the state's Republicans went to the caucuses.
Out. Yeah. Well, who? I mean, really?
Well, I just want to. This is what I hate when we start throwing these numbers around and there's no context. So it's 14% of the registered Republicans that turned out. Some of those were Democrats, by the way, because you could just go in and register and then unregister. So
okay. So yeah, it's bullshit. It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
It's this performative crapola that media subject us to, and but the reality is he is going to be the nominee.
Yeah.
There is no way. That's their choice. It is the choice of the majority of Republicans. There's a piece in the Times today that I don't have the stomach to read because I'm so sick of reading this crap. But it's titled "The Appeal of an All-American Strongman," and in it I see we are treated to the wisdom of Trump aficionados of why they like him, and
it's always such bullshit. That's not true. Well, I like his economy, and I go, wait a minute, let's go back to his economy.
It's their perception. And here's a woman. You want someone strong globally so that it creates mutual respect with other countries.
But we had total disrespect from other countries.
I know, but they don't know. Being strong is everything. It's not good. It's good not to be liked. He'll run the country like a business. Yeah. Like one of his businesses.
He's about to lose all of his businesses because of the way he ran them.
But okay, so why do we keep being subjected to this? The other thing I realize that I have seen and been stunned by a few times when they do these things, and in fact, one of the women pictured here is black. It says, her name is Debbie Finch. Debbie Finch doesn't care about Donald Trump's indictments. She likes his economy. She liked his economy. Now, that's a black woman in Iowa. And some of the there's next to no black people in Iowa.
Right.
But man, the media have found a lot.
The three of them, the three black Republicans.
I don't know. It's just unbelievable to see black people parroting this crapola about Trump, and they're Republicans. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, anyway, so there's that.
Again, it does no good to talk about those people. There's nothing to do about those people except hope that they don't take up arms against their country and us. But there's no changing of minds. There's no logic with them. So we simply have to focus on the vast majority of Americans who are not that.
Well,
and motivate them.
Okay, you brought up something, seemingly incredible to believe, taking up arms against their country. I want to point out something that I have not spoken about before, but Josh Marshall, who is a pundit type on social media, just put out a very terse thing a few days ago, and I agree with him, because he said Texas appears to be in armed rebellion against the federal government.
Yes, it is.
Well, why isn't? Okay, so let's just here's what I believe they are. What they have done.
They are.
So what Abbott has done is he has literally taken over what is federal land, the boundary between the United States and Mexico, and is preventing U.S., the Border Patrol, the federal government agents, any access to this.
As a result of which, a woman and two children drowned yesterday while everybody watched, and they were prevented from saving them.
Right. The Fed said, hey, we know the Mexican government is saying that there is a woman and two children in great distress. We need to get in there. And the Texans said, no, you are not allowed in here. The U.S. apparently goes to the Supreme Court, who I believe has done nothing, didn't they? I don't. So the Texans stood by and let this woman and two children drown. Abbott, the governor, later said they were dead before we even, knew about this. Which is anything coming out of their mouths is just crap. What is going on if a state is preventing the federal government from access to the border, if that is not armed rebellion against the government, federal government, by a state government? And I can't believe this isn't more of a story. I can't believe that this isn't being called what it appears to be. And why is the Biden administration, well, I know they got a lot on their plate, and maybe they don't want to play into the hands of Abbott.
Well, if they fire on them, what are they going to? I mean, this never turns out well when the federal government ends up in armed conflict with renegades. I mean, it just, even when they're right, it comes out wrong.
Well, and the renegades, as you say, know that.
Yeah.
But it looks like weakness on the part of the federal government. I just don't understand it. And the immigration thing is a potential killer of not just women and children, but of Biden. Because this is an issue that he's very quiet about. Nothing does seem to be being done. The Republicans are going gangbusters misrepresenting it, but it is a problem, a big problem that Democrats are not addressing, except the Democratic mayors and governors like Governor Pritzker in Illinois and the New York's mayor saying, hey, this performative theater that Abbott and DeSantis and others, sending these poor souls who end up getting into the country to Democratic states is brilliant because it's working. It's working.
Well, of course, of course it's working because and there's two sides to every story. If he were not sending those people out, they would all be in Texas and the surrounding areas and then it would be their economic problem to deal with. And that's his performative point. This is expensive, guys. You can't just leave it if we don't have policy and we don't have. So right. What we have to do, but then you get to Congress and where insert your own preferred, expletive. Does anybody think Congress can or will do?
Right. And what's this? I'm reading. I don't know. This is an issue I've been.
But it avoiding. Is 15 below, or 25 below, in Chicago right now, and those people are intense. So it's a real humanitarian crisis, and it needs to be addressed, but not in these performative ways.
No, but it's such a problem that nobody knows how to deal with it. And I would argue that both parties have failed.
Of course they have.
Totally
That's exactly
failed.
What I'm saying.
If you have a border, there's a reason for having a border. And obviously, we cannot have anybody just walking across it. I'm sorry, you can't. And I don't know. There's been no effort whatsoever on the part of either party, except the Republicans, who see a marvelous thing that they can demagogue and misrepresent and will get their base riled up about their blood being poisoned. I just don't know. Now, I read something that blew me away. 2 Republican governors, Spencer Cox, governor of Utah, Eric Holcomb, governor of Indiana, they, a year ago, they wrote an essay together and offered to sponsor immigrants in their states. And they said that between the 2 states, Utah and Indiana, they have more than 300,000 job vacancies.
Yeah.
And they said, let's say 2 Republican governors.
We need the workforce, right?
Yes. They say in meaningful ways, every United States state shares a border with the rest of the world. And all of them need investment, markets, and workers from abroad. The border can remain an embarrassment, or it can become a big asset to us once again. But for that to happen, you need Congress. And the Republicans have made sure that Congress is dysfunctional, unfunctional, and will not in any way help.
No, they're actually malfunctioning. They're broken. They're malfunctioning.
Yes, but intentionally.
Yeah.
Malfunctioning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this also, by the way, that these 2 Republican governors would say We got jobs for these people. That puts the lie to the often used anti-immigrant argument that they're coming to take our jobs. They're coming to take jobs that apparently Americans don't want.
Always have. Always have.
Oh, God.
Well, wasn't it a few years ago when states started to ban immigrants for and then they'd be states like Georgia, and then it would be peach picking season, and the fruit was rotting on the trees, and they were taking convicts out of the jails and prisons to do the work, and they were no good at it.
Yeah, right.
Right? Do you remember that story?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay.
And I also
Georgia,
have read.
So I'm just, it was one of those states that relies on immigrant farm worker, like Wisconsin.
Like you name any state.
Like you name any state. We need the workers.
Right. And a lot of, the farmers who use them who might vote Republican will, if asked, will say, I need these people because American workers this is horrible, tough work. And Americans don't want these jobs. They come in and say, oh yeah, I can do this. And they don't last. They leave. That's the truth. 2 Republican governors saying, we want these people. They do jobs that we have and our economies need.
Well, for example, they're in the trades right now. There is such a shortage of, for example, brick masons that people you wait years to get on a list for the one guy, to show up and replace bricks or put bricks on your house. It's not a material or stone, any of that stuff. That whole group of people who are willing to do it
those skilled workers are not to be found.
No.
And I know what Susan's talking about is something that's happened in Green Bay, but I suspect that it's more.
It's everywhere.
Green Bay, where in the one little neighborhood where my mom lives, we're aware of 2 homes where they've waited well over a year, and there's still no bricklayers to be found.
No, and one of the homes had to wrap the home twice because it was waiting too long and the wrap was exposed, and finally gave up and put siding all up and down, which was not what was intended and doesn't look good. So yeah. So there are these. Well, you see, but there are real life consequences to what's happening for each of us, for all of us. It affects the economy in ways that people don't think about, and instead what they latch onto is, they're mixing the blood.
Yeah,
and that's why I can't have, bricks someplace because they're mixing they don't want any blood mixing in this country. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I sort of thought that our country was built on the principle that none of us are natives. We all came together to make this a home for everybody.
Well, there's a whole bunch of Americans who forgot it. And who don't see themselves as part of that story. It's mind blowing. We mentioned the Congress is malfunctioned. Do you know how many laws? Listen to this. This is, again, facts. Do you know how many laws this Congress? It's forget what Congress is. The 118th Congress in the history of the United States. Do you know how many bills?
Oh, yeah, no, but are we, except for emergency bills to extend that sort of stuff?
No, I'm adding everything. No, everything.
Oh, then maybe two?
No. They passed, this Congress has passed 27 laws.
Okay. But several of them are kicking the can down on the...
No, they are. Well, that's what they're doing.
On the budgetary process.
Wait. They're like renaming a post office.
Right.
I kid you not.
No, that's what they can get past.
Here, let's look at the last Congress when the Democrats controlled the Congress, 2022. Congress passed 308 laws. Yeah, of the 27 laws, 1 approved a new commemorative coin and 2 renamed buildings. And we pay these people?
Yeah, well, that's where when you elect a bunch of people that don't know how to do the job, this is what you get.
Want to. No, and they clearly, but the voters who send them there don't have fallen for this thing that Ronald Reagan started, that government is the problem. And so if it's the problem, you disable it, or you disenable it, or you do everything you can to not have it work. I don't know. I mean, here is one of the MAGA Republicans saying, he's a jerk from Texas, and even he is saying one thing. I want my Republican colleagues to give me one thing, that I can go campaign on and tell my constituents, we did this. If any of you can come down to the floor and explain to me one meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done. That's from Chip Roy, who's a lunatic.
Right.
But he's right.
Yeah. No, I mean, we know that the few Republicans that actually want to govern there, that we used to think of as horrifying people, now look so normal and reasonable, like Liz Cheney.
God help us.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Hey, Susan, there is this ridiculous graph on the front page of the New York Times today, which looks like a bunch of scribbles. It's like scribble. The scribbles keep going up and up and up. It is just a clear, up. And what it is, it's a temperature graph of monthly global temperatures. And 2023, the year we just put to bed, is the hottest year ever. And you can say, yeah, but who knows? The fact is the scientists combine all of the information they're able to get from all the readings we have now. They also pull in geological evidence. They drill holes down. They can tell what the temperatures were when people weren't around recording it. So they can go back over 100,000 years. Okay. 100,000 years before there were any cities, any books, any agriculture, any domesticated animals, any people with thermometers. This last year we just lived through is the hottest ever. Every tenth of a degree creates a big change. Creates, according to this, thermodynamic fuel that intensifies heat waves, intensifies storms, adds to the rising sea levels, and hastens the glaciers and ice sheets melting. And I don't know, the hottest ever. Do you see one idiot Republican actually said, I forget who, I mean, they said, they did the old thing. If it's 15 below in Des Moines, you tell me there's global warming. Right.
Well, it's 15 below in Des Moines because we have destroyed what would hold the polar vortex up north has gotten so warm that it's dipped down to us. So yes, that's what it means.
Yeah. I keep reading things and I usually don't. I mean, I like read the headline, the first paragraph.
And go on, yes.
I get so depressed I can't read the rest of it. And it's a lot of it is science stuff about what is happening in nature. And did you see a thing the other day that plants are they can see plants are changing so that they don't need as much pollination.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
everything needs to survive.
Yeah, the biggest driving force in life, all life, is to stay alive. And we do that through adaptation. And I must say, it could be that the flora and fauna that we tend to look down upon might be doing a better job adapting than we are. Oh, God, I have to tell you this. It's so depressing.
No, thanks. Go. I can't wait.
My Wordle win streak ended today.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh, I got it in 3. And I had absolutely no letters in the first one.
Up. Fine. I obviously chose the wrong. I mean, it's just I didn't have the right letters. I couldn't get the right thing to save my soul.
That happens. Yeah, it just happens. And then it's, sorry.
But I hate it. I've yet to have a win streak go over 100. And I need that. And I was heading to it. And so it just, deflated my day.
Well, here, if you've learned anything in the last several years, here's what you learned. Just lie.
Susan. That's the thing I could never get, though. I have to tell you about cheating, like on the test or.
What does a false grade do for your self-esteem?
Yeah, I always wondered how people could do that. And knowing that it was, that whatever they were proudly touting was not true. Because to me, the person I most want to, I guess, impress is myself.
Right.
I guess.
You want to prove you can do it. Well,
I saw this great thing about at the Emmy Awards.
At the Emmys, yes. I was just going to say my head went to the same place. Yes, Niecy Reach and whatever her last name is now.
This wonderful woman who said in her speech, right? And after going on and saying, and I want to say, and you know who else I want to thank? I want to thank me. And the crowd went nuts. You realize that no one's ever said that. And
what she says, I want to thank me for believing in me.
In myself.
For pushing me for knowing I can do it. And I thank me. And I thought to myself, I've always loved her since I found her on
I don't even know who that is. Who is she? What did she do?
She's one of the reasons I know her is because she's a woman from St. Louis. So
But what is she? What did she win for? I don't even know what show
she's. I don't know either. I don't know what show she was on this time. But when I first noticed her, she was on one of these stupid clean out the mess houses and redo it. And she was the funny woman who was always horrified and then very impressed. And she was she was just fun to watch, even when she was doing nothing. And then she was on one of those funny police shows, and I don't know. And then she's done several serious turns, and it turns out she's a good serious actress.
Yeah. Well, so I just want to say I did see that. A little clip of that. I didn't watch the show. I saw a little clip of it, and I thought, what a wonderful, there it is. Somebody flat out, yes. It's like you're not supposed to say, I want to thank me. Well, she's done it, and it was wonderful. Lynn writes in, let's not forget about mixing blood, the Republican thing about tainting our blood.
Right.
Let's not forget the former president mixed his blood with Ivana, a Czech Republic immigrant with the Eastern European accent to go with it, and begot Eric, Don Jr., and Ivanka. Don't forget Melania, who with Donald had Barron. So one of the biggest blood mixers with immigrants is the guy who's demonizing immigrants. But then again,
they're Europeans and white. Don't you understand this concept?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot that part.
Yeah.
Well, they should be more specific then. He often is more specific.
Yes.
Yeah. I read something in The Week magazine that so blew me away. I can't even. Can I read this to you?
Sure.
You can't believe this. You cannot believe this. You think you're having a bad day. The next time you think you're having the worst day imaginable, I want you to remember this. Sarah de Lagarde was run over by a train twice. On a rainy night in 2022, the mother of two slipped at a London tube station and fell through the gap between the platform and the train. Bloodied and disoriented, she somehow remained conscious as the departing train severed the bone and muscle in her right arm. She's quoted as saying, "I can't remember feeling any pain." The story goes on. Nobody heard her desperate screams for help. And about 5 minutes later, another train approached. She says, that was really quite frightening. She was 43 years old when this happened. That was really quite frightening. I remember the noise and the massive black wheels. The train ran over her right foot. Finally, after 15 minutes, someone spotted her. She survived.
Minus a few limbs.
Well, listen to this. Of all people to have this happen to. She had climbed Mount Kilimanjaro just a few weeks before. God! Anyway.
Well, gee, I feel so much better after that story.
Yeah, well, it says here, last July, she was fitted with a first-of-its-kind bionic arm powered by artificial intelligence. 16 sensors read her shoulders' muscle movements and maneuver the arm accordingly, while artificial intelligence learns to predict her mannerisms. She also received a prosthetic leg but she still struggles with depression.
Yeah. Is it depression if you have every right to feel that way? I always ask that question. You know, maybe it's just reality. And then on the other side, I was reading, we choose different materials. I was reading about this 90-year-old, I think British, he's Irish, right? The guy, the rower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in such incredible condition.
Yeah, he's got the heart and body of a 40-year-old, a healthy one. Wow. And he holds records for rowing.
Well, bully for him.
And he didn't start until he was 72. But I mean, and he was a baker before that. He never exercised. It's a never too late kind of a story, you know, to start moving. It's really good for you, whatever you can do.
Okay.
But I don't think lying on a couch and sitting up is actually exercise, which one of my
anytime you move, it is a little bit of exercise.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Any bit of movement. So I came upon an obit today that, by the way, I didn't see the obit of somebody I wanted to see. For those of us who are really old, one of the greatest and one of the first sitcoms, The Honeymooners.
Oh yeah, she died. Yeah.
Jackie Gleason, Ed Carney,
Art Carney.
Right, Art Carney. Art Carney, the woman who played Art Carney's wife, died just the other day, and I didn't see. I didn't see an obit. I was looking for it. That was one of the funny, although, you know, looking at it now, it was a lot of, you know, it wouldn't play.
A lot of inappropriate humor.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But
a lot of misogyny in that show.
Oh,
and I remember thinking that even at the time, and there I was, a little girl, and I remember thinking that the way Jackie Gleason spoke to his wife was
so disrespectful.
Was not appropriate. And I thought, that's not funny. That's not right. That's not funny. That's not right. I remember thinking that.
Well, I was, we didn't see that kind of behavior in our home. So, you know, like threatening your wife with... with the back of your hand. Why, Alice? That was, remember, that's what he used to say. To the moon! Yeah, to the moon! But nonetheless, brilliant show. And I did want to note her. But the obit I'm looking at, it was not... It's a woman who died also lived a long life, 103. Her name was Norma Barzman, and she was a Hollywood screenwriter who, among many, many, many people, including her husband, was blacklisted because she had flirted with communism. And she's quoted in the article as saying, "I'm very proud of my years as a communist. We weren't Soviet agents, but we were a little silly, idealistic, and enthusiastic, and thought that there was a chance of making a better world." Yeah, that sort of sums it up, right?
Well, you know, contextualize it again. People coming out of the Depression, you know, where some people managed to get through and many people weren't eating. It's very easy to see that people would be attracted to a political movement that equalized things and made sure that there was nobody that far on the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it was.
So, I love how she met her husband. So listen to this. It says right here, I'll just read the little paragraph. She met Ben Barzman, another aspiring screenwriter, at a party at the home of another screenwriter, Robert Rossen. Mr. Barzman, her husband-to-be, was insisting that modern movies were too complex for women to write. She pushed a lemon meringue pie in his face.
Good for her.
And they married 2 years later. Don't you love that?
Yes, I do.
Oh, man. And when she was like 90, what would she have been? 99. She was outside the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion in Los Angeles, outside the Academy Awards ceremony, with about 500 other people. And she was holding a sign. She was in a protest. She was 99. She was protesting the giving of a honorary Oscar to Elia Kazan.
Oh, right, director. Because he was complicit. Yeah,
he talked.
Yeah.
To the House Un-American Activities Committee, and this woman, the lemon meringue pie pusher, went to protest, and she was carrying a sign that read, "Kazan is a fink." I love her.
Well, good for her.
Yeah, and then there's just one more little thing from this obit. So the couple, it says, were sitting on their front lawn in July 1947 when a woman in a convertible stopped to talk. Her name was Norma, too, because this woman's name is Norma Barzman.
Norma Jean.
She told them, this Norma told them, there's a police car at the bottom of the hill, and they're stopping everyone who's turning onto the street. They're asking about the Barzmans. They're asking about you. Years later, the Barzman realized that Norma had taken the stage name Marilyn Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
How bizarre.
Why were the police stopping?
They were like gathering information on these guys.
Oh, this is back in the
Yeah, this is 47.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
okay, right. Of course. I'm that's I just had how you say a brain fart.
They were not initially called themselves before the House Un-American Activities Committee, but after the initial committee, after they grilled people, Hollywood executives released a statement. It's called the Waldorf Statement, in which Hollywood itself said that the 10 witnesses that were called before HUAC, as well as anyone else who refused to discuss their relationship to the Communist Party, would not work in the industry, would be blacklisted. And they couldn't get any jobs. So they went to London. And they did not return to the United States until 1965. And even then, they were just visiting. And then they did not come back for good until 1976.
No, it's amazing they came back at all.
Well, probably had family here. Who knows what? I don't know. I'm reminded of Paul Mann, Susan.
Yeah.
This is somebody we knew. And he suffered. His life, his career suffered hugely as a result of this. He was called before the committee. He was a actor, an aspiring theater actor, and he had the transcript of his testimony, and he showed it to me once, and wow, he essentially told him to go to hell. That was it. That was the end.
Wow. And then he didn't work again for a long time.
Well, he didn't work again for a long time. Instead, he became a teacher, and he taught the likes of Poitier, Ruby Dee. Why am I blanking on her husband's name?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going past my head so fast I can't catch it.
Harry Belafonte. And what's her name?
Premier black actor. Somebody help. Okay, I'll do this.
And then also Cicely Tyson. He taught.
Right.
I know. Yeah. So that's a
Ozzie Davis. Ozzie Davis.
Ozzie Davis. That's right. That's a much more complicated story. Paul Mann is a complicated man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I too, he had a huge impact on my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mostly for the better. I would not be doing what I'm doing now if my path hadn't crossed his.
Right.
Yeah. No matter that he was a controlling Machiavellian Svengali,
Yeah.
really
No. Yeah.
So, and
complicated.
Okay. And I'll tell the story of when he was called in from the cold, and that I'm using that. I was with him when he got a phone call, and it was from the producer, Norman Jewison. And this would be like what? It'd be 1969, 1970. Yeah. It had to be about 1969.
I think 1969. I think that's right. That's when I graduated high school. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. It makes sense for my timeline too. It would have been 1969. And Paul got a call from Norman Jewison. And when he hung up, he turned to me and he said, "That was Norman Jewison. He said, Paul, it's time we brought you in from the cold." And he offered him a part in a movie that he was about to make called Fiddler on the Roof. So look and see when Fiddler on the Roof was made. It would have been 69 or 70. Yeah.
Here, I'll Google it. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll ask Mr. Google. Hold on.
And so his 1971. Okay. So he was it was probably then 70, 69 or 70. Yeah. Because 71 is then when, at Paul's insistence, I went to New York City to study at the neighborhood playhouse.
Right.
That's right. And he went to, I'm blanking, some godforsaken place in Eastern Europe to shoot Fiddler. Wow. Our lives.
I know. I was talking to a friend about this, that if I would just sit down and do it, there's for no good reason, the children of our parents lived sort of ridiculous lives in Little Green Bay, where we were exposed to people that we never should have known, met, had stay at the house, and it's been that way our whole lives. I've run into or met more famous people in the daily course of life that left me with amusing stories that I can name. I could fill a book with them if I'd just sit down and write it.
Yeah, I keep telling myself the same thing. Sit down.
Maybe the two of us should sit down and write it.
Oh,
we can alternate chapters.
Oh, my God. I don't know. So, I came
We could have a
this.
whole chapter on sexual assaults by famous men. I got Isaac Bashevis Singer and Isaac Asimov right off the top.
Only Isaacs? Only Isaacs, guys?
Only Isaacs.
I'd hate to go there.
Yeah, I know. I only did that because those were sort of, Isaac Bashevis Singer was, just wandering into the room of a 16-year-old at 2:00 in the morning and offering to tell her a story, and I took him back to his room. But Isaac Asimov actually grabbed my ass right in front of my husband in the elevator of the building that we all lived in. And I just looked at him totally shocked. And come to find out he was actually infamous for such behavior.
Well, there you go. I mean, it is what men used to do all the time.
Yeah, because they could.
And
to quote a former president, yes.
Yeah, and women tolerated it. It wasn't a crime. I remember after I'd been abused a few times, it never occurred to go to authorities about it because it was not a crime. There was no crime of sexual harassment, of groping,
minor assault, groping.
Yeah,
right.
That was none of that was considered criminal. And speaking of that, Donald Trump, the triumphant winner of the Iowa Caucuses, and defendant in chief, will be in. I don't know if he's going to court today for the E. Jean Carroll.
Oh, he's there.
Second round.
He's there
already.
He's there. Yeah.
All right. And I guess the judge has agreed to let him speak. And this is a jury. And E. Jean Carroll's attorneys tried really hard to prevent that because, as they said that his recent statements in court and behavior strongly suggest that he will seek to sow chaos. But apparently he is going to. And I don't know. I sort of feel for the judges in all these damn.
Well, there's if they don't let him talk, then he goes out and says they shut me up. So let him talk because chances are
it's a no-win. Because if he talks, they'll shut him off anyway. Because he'll do everything they told him not to do. This is not a trial about did he sexually assault her. This is a trial about damages,
right? For
defamation.
But he's already lost once.
The judge has already said, we're not doing a do-over here. This is not to determine whether or not Ms. Carroll was assaulted. She was assaulted. So he can't go there. He can't, and that's all he does is say, I never laid eyes on the woman. She's
and then he calls her awful names.
Yes, right. So that'll be it all works to his benefit. See, with Trump, he puts the people who believe in law and order in a constant catch-22. It's sort of like no matter what happens, he wins. Also, did you see the only attorney I think he had that was considered really legitimately a good one?
Oh, but he's the guy that kept going on like MSNBC and spouting off his mouth, and I'm thinking, you're an idiot.
No, Joseph Tacopina.
Yeah,
he's a trial lawyer who has had a lot of success with high-profile cases, rappers, Sean Hannity, and he has left. He has withdrawn from all of the representation of Trump, and he won't say why, but he's out. So Trump's left with these, bimbos.
What do you guess that he simply hasn't paid him?
Well, that might be it. He didn't pay him. Well, we know that going in.
Yeah.
This guy might have been the guy, though, who said, I want the money up front. I think some of these lawyers now, the legitimate.
No, I think that's the guy I think that's the guy someplace in one of the other cases.
Who can keep track?
No, I'm serious. I can't keep track, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I don't think it's him.
Okay. All right. Well, Suze, we have come to the end.
We have
episode. Yeah.
That's okay.
How long are you staying in the frozen tundra?
At least until the weekend. There's no sense. I'm needed
in
here.
Going back, you're snowbound one way or the other. Yeah. You might as well just stay.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
As you say, Green Bay is strangely great place to be.
It's a lovely place to be. I got nothing bad to say about it, as long as I can get to Chicago to get anything I might need.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only bad part about Green Bay. So.
You wouldn't be talking about legalized marijuana, would you?
Well, I'm also talking about palatable wine or...
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, these are the things that make my life more comfortable.
You can't find palatable wine.
No, it's really. I finally found one little wine shop that has anything other than the lowest kind of grocery store.
Oh well, sorry, that's what you get for being whatever.
For drinking so much red wine that I developed a palate. It's the downside.
Oh, sorry. Give me Ripple is fine with me. I don't care.
Okay.
Bye, Suze.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. As far as I know. Okay. Be careful out there. The snow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.